Welcome back. Welcome to the second part of liver function test. In the previous class, we analyzed that what all tests are to be done in the LFT or the liver function test. And now, after discussing about the bilirubin, which is in the form of conjugated and unconjugated form, now we switch on to the other biochemical test, which is known as SGOT. SGOT is having a full name as serum glutamate oxaloacetate transaminase, which is shortly known as SGOT. This SGOT we will be referring, we will not use this full name, rather we will be referring this to SGOT only. Now SGOT is high when there is heart muscle, liver and skeletal muscle damage. Also it is found when the damage is being done to kidney, pancreas and RBC, but comparatively the level is quite low. So majorly speaking, SGOT widely present in the blood circulation when there is some damage to heart muscle, liver and skeletal muscle. We will look into some examples like heart muscle damage, myocardial infarction, there is a damage to the muscles of heart. Then in that case you might get SGOT elevated. Hepatitis can be a disease of liver which can give you an elevated SGOT. Skeletal muscle diseases like DMD, uterine muscular dystrophy, can give you an elevated level of SGOT. Next, damaged tissue release SGOT in blood. This SGOT level in blood is directly related to extent of cellular damage of injury. More the damage, higher would be the level of SGOT. Amount of SGOT in plasma depends on the length of time that the blood was drawn from the injury. Suppose the injury was done now and after few hours, that is 8 to 10 hours, you could draw the blood. The level of SGOT would be at the peak. But gradually as the time progresses, beyond few days, the SGOT level will fall. As you can see, the time limitations are given here. SGOT level in plasma is elevated from 8 hours, that is maximum is at the 8 hours after cellular injury. Peak at 24 to 36 hours, that it can remain till peak to 24 to 36 hours, that is approximately a day and a half, and returns to normal in 3 to 7 days. So suppose the injury was done a week before and you analyze that injury after a week, you won't get the SGOT level raised. SGOT level in blood is always high in patients with chronic hepatocellular disease. So if you are analyzing a chronic disease, on every repetitive test, no matter when you are doing the test, SGOT level would be continuously raised because there is a continuous damage that is being done to the liver. So it is termed as a chronic liver disease. Acute hepatitis. If in case of acute hepatitis, that is an inflammatory condition of liver, SGOT in plasma is about 20 times the normal value. So there is an approximate value that has been given. Later we will see what are the normal values of SGOT and SGBT. Acute extrahepatic obstruction like gallstone, also known as polylithasis, SGOT level quickly rises to 10 times normal and swiftly falls. That is, if there is an obstructive disease, SGOT level will increase 10 times than normal and then swiftly fall. So, if we see the comparison, chronic disease, SGOT level would be continuously high. In cases of acute hepatitis, that is, it will be raised 20 times or 20 times the normal value, and in case of obstructive disease, it would increase 10 times and then swiftly fall. Cirrhotic patient, that is one of the form of chronic hepatic disorder, level of SGOT in plasma depends on the amount of active inflammation. So, obviously, it is a variable factor. Now, what are the factors that can interfere with the level of SGOT in blood? First is pregnancy. So, pregnancy is a normal physiological phenomena. It can cause decrease in the level of SGOT. Second, exercise causes an increase in the level of SGOT. So if a person is continuously involved in certain exercising activities, then SGOT level might be slightly raised, not too much raised, slightly raised. Suppose a person is dependent on certain type of drugs, that is antihypertensive, that is for blood pressure. If there is a high blood pressure and the person is taking high blood pressure medicines, then you can find SGOT level would be increased. Cholinergic agents, formalin type anticoagulants, oral contraceptive, opiates and salicylates. These all medicines will interfere with the level of SGOT, that is, they will increase the level of SGOT. Now, after the SGOT comes SGPT, that is serum glutamyl pyruvate transaminase, SGPT. Like after SGOT, we have SGPT. SGPT found mainly in liver. Lesser quantities are in kidney, heart and skeletal muscle. So, in case if you get a higher level of SGOT, as we have discussed earlier, where the level was increased due to injury in heart muscle, liver and skeletal muscle, now we need to check next is the SGPT level, just in case to confirm whether the damage is coming from liver, heart or skeletal muscle. Suppose we have a higher level of SGOT and higher level of SGPT. That is a confirmation that the damage is being done to the liver, because SGPT will only rise up when there is a damage in the liver. There won't be find in a higher quantity if the damage is being done to kidney, heart or skeletal muscle. So this is a differentiating point. SGOT level will rise when there is a damage to liver, heart muscle and kidney, whereas the liver SGPT level will rise only when the damage is being done to the liver. Liver injury causes elevation in SGPT level in blood. SGPT sensitivity specific indices for liver disease. So this particular SGPT is only for the liver disorders. SGPT level is more liver specific than SGOT, as we have discussed earlier. This will be more specific. SGPT level is directly related to the extent of liver injury. Elevation in SGPT in plasma depends on length of time that the blood was drawn after the damage. Why? Because gradually the body will eliminate this SGPT as the time will pass. Because SGPT is cleared from the blood in few days. Same was applicable for SGOT also. So how does it increase this? SGPT level in plasma is elevated within 8 hours and it remains till 3 to 24 to 36 hours and it will return to normal in 3 to 7 days, as was in the case of SGOT. SGPT is released more than SGOT in chronic hepatocellular disease like liver cirrhosis. So it should be understood that SGOT is released more as compared to SGPT in chronic hepatocellular disease. In most hepatocellular disease other than viral hepatitis, most of the liver diseases except viral hepatitis, SGPT and SGOT ratio, that is known as Dirichlet's ratio, is usually less than 1, which indicates that your SGPT will be less as compared to SGOT. So SGOT is usually raised in all the hepatic diseases as compared to SGPT. In viral hepatitis, the ratio is usually greater than 1. That is to interpret that SGPT in viral hepatitis will be more as compared to SGOT. Large number of drugs can increase serum level of SGPT. Now we are done with the SGPT. Now we will come to the alkaline phosphatase part. And what is the diagnostic significance? There are other biochemical reactions in the list of LFT. Alkaline phosphatase activity is increased in alkaline medium. That is, this particular biochemical will show an increase in alkaline medium. Alkaline phosphatase is highest in liver, biliary tract epithelium, bone and placenta. So the sources of getting ALP, that is alkaline phosphatase, is liver, biliary tract epithelium, bones and placenta. So these are the potential sources. Alkaline phosphatase is in upper cell lining of biliary collecting system. Plasma ALP level is used to detect disorders in livers and bone. As you can see, placenta is only formed in a female during the time of pregnancy, so we can rule out this factor. But if in a other individual you are finding ALP level raised, so you can think of disorders related to liver and bone. So plasma ALP level will be increased in disorders of liver and bone. Liver diseases, increased plasma alkaline phosphatase is due to synthesis by cell lining bile canaliculi, as we have seen earlier. The biliary tract epithelium carries ALP in response to intrahepatic or extrahepatic cholestasis. Cholestasis when bile duct is not moving efficiently, that is a stagnation in the movement of bile juice. ALP level in plasma is greatly increased in both extrahepatic and intrahepatic obstructive biliary disease and cirrhosis. So what you have here is alkaline phosphatase will increase in any type of obstructive disease of liver and also in a chronic disease like cirrhosis. Hepatic tumors, hepatotoxins, drugs and hepatitis may cause smaller elevation in serum alkaline phosphatase level. What is the indication? If there is any cancer condition of liver, if you are using certain types of drugs which are harmful for liver, or in case of hepatitis, whether it is acute viral hepatitis, there is a smaller elevation in the amount of alkaline phosphatase that comes to the conclusion that ALP level is indices of liver disease which are obstructive in nature or are very chronic in nature. Next is bone. When we are discussing about the ALP and the liver disorders, next ALP is also increased in cases of bone disorder. Bone is the most frequent extrahepatic source of ALP. New bone growth causes elevation of blood level of ALP. Healing fractures, rheumatoid arthritis, hyperparathyroidism and placenta. Placenta, again, as I said, it would be only present in a pregnant woman. So placenta ALP appears in maternal blood usually in the third trimester of pregnancy. This is a normal finding, so we don't consider it as a pathological finding. But apart from that, conditions which are related to bone, like new bone growth, healing of fractures, rheumatoid arthritis, hyperparathyroidism, as you know, parathyroid hormone are related to calcium metabolism and they have direct link with the bone growth and dissemination. So all these conditions can give you an increased level of alkaline phosphatase. Now we have two major isozymes, that is ALP1 and ALP2. They are isozymes that we have seen the name alkaline phosphatase 1 and alkaline phosphatase 2. Alkaline phosphatase 1 is produced mainly by liver and is heat stable. See, heat stability is mainly related to the diagnostic purpose or in the laboratory when we are finding out. So ALP1 is heat stable, whereas ALP2 is produced by the bone and is inactivated by heat. They are used to distinguish liver and bone diseases. Suppose in case you are having an elevated level of ALP, alkaline phosphatase, then you need to know whether it is coming from any bone disease or the liver disease. So you can have this differentiation. ALP1 would come from the liver, whereas ALP2 would come from the bones. So what you do is, you do a heat stability test or by electrophoresis. Detection of isozyme helps determine sources of pathology condition causing elevated ALP in blood, whether it is due to the liver or due to the bone condition. ALP1 is expected to be higher in liver disease, whereas ALP2 would be higher in disorders related to bones. And next is 5-nucleotidase. It can be used to determine sources of high level of ALP in blood. source of elevated ALP, that is alkaline phosphatase, can be determined by testing the same serum sample for 5 nucleotides. Now, how this will help us to determine whether it is coming from liver, that is the raised level of ALP is coming from liver or from bone. So, 5 nucleotides is produced predominantly in liver. So, if both total ALP and 5 nucleotides are elevated in plasma, then liver is the source of ALP. So, suppose if you don't want to go for ALP1 and ALP2 test, so this is the second indicator, that is 5 nucleotides, which will give you an approximate idea whether 5 nucleotides, ALP is coming from liver or from the bone. If plasma level of 5 nucleotides is normal, but level of ALP is elevated, then you come to know that the bone is the source of elevated ALP. So it's very clear, 5 nucleotides, if it is increased along with ALP, you should be very sure that the source is from the liver. If ALP level is raised but 5 nucleotides level is less, then the source is from both. Next biochemical test in series is GGTP. GGTP catalyzes transfer of amino acids and peptides across membrane and involved in glutenin metabolism. So glutenin is an amino acid. GGTP level is very high in liver and biliary tract, but low in kidney, spleen and heart, intestine, brain and prostate gland. So overall, this is a very specific test for level of liver. Basically, it could give you a high approximation or high level only in liver and biliary tract, whereas low level in kidney, spleen, prostate. GGTP level are higher in males because of the level in prostate. Also, as we have seen, the GGTP level can be also due to presence of prostate. So prostate is a reproductive gland present in males. So GGTP level would be comparatively more in males as compared to females. Test for GGTP is used to detect liver cell dysfunction. GGTP test is highly accurate in indicating cholestasis, that is obstructive bleeding or any obstruction which is not causing movement of bile juice. GGTP is the most sensitive liver enzyme for detecting biliary obstruction, cholangitis and cholecystitis. So these all are indicators of if you are facing any of the diseases, then you will be facing high level of GGTP.